Hello, in today's recording, I'm going to explain how to build visibility of sections or fields in performance forms based on any data from Employee Central for an employee, which basically means that if we look at these two employees here, and we look at one of these two forms I created, we have this custom section with pay grade and pay scale type, which are two information from EC. And what we're going to achieve in this recording is that we're going to make the summary section show only for one of the two employees using the the performance business rules that were added as part of the second half 2025 enhancement. These performance business rules allow us to say, okay, if the value from one of these custom fields is this, then hide the entire section. So that's what we're going to do. Both Michael Pittman, these two users, and Anya Singh, which is myself here in this demo, have the different data. We have these two users have different pay grades, different pay scale type, and we're going to only show the section for Michael Pittman. This is something that does not require CPI work, cloud platform integration, which comes at additional license cost, um, nor does it require integration center jobs connected with SFTP. So you can do it all yourself in the admin center, but you have to follow some steps that I will walk us through today that I've highlighted in this yellow sticker notes here. Um, and so we're going to use this template that's already here, and we're going to go into the details and all the nitty-gritty things that are needed to make this happen. So what we're going to do is we're going to import the data. We're going to export the data both from these forms that have already been created and from EC. Make sure that we load them into these custom fields, and then we're going to build the rule to make the section visible only for the right people. The reason it was complicated to build this workaround without CPI is because the performance business rules from the second half release 2025, they do not let us use any of these information. Otherwise, it would have been simple. We would have brought these, synchronized the fields from EC to the UDF and pull them up here and then use them in the rule. Unfortunately, the performance business rules do not allow us to get this data, to access this data. So the one that what I'm going to show today is the only way to build this, as far as I know, without CPI. Okay, so let's get started. So we have a template here. Well, actually, before I get into the template and the custom fields, one of the first things which is in my notes here is this design requires that you add a launch step, or you can call it also admin step, in your performance process. So in order for the summary section to become visible only to specific employees, you need to add a launch step. So if we click on the workflow here, the route map, we can see I added a step one assessment called launch. So if you had a performance process with, let's say, 3 steps or 4 steps, you want to go into your route map, add a step called launch. And what's important is that all the forms need to be routed to the person who will be eventually running the integration center job that we will do in this recording. It's the last step. And so you need to make sure that your route map is configured so that it's a user step. So you decide who is going to perform the action to run the integration center job. So what you could do is you could create, just like we have in the composition module, we have a comp administrator, which is a user that allows us to keep the whole process anonymous. You could have a performance administrator, give that performance administrator integration center rights as well as inbox right on performance management, and make sure all the forms get routed to that person, to that fake user, and then proxy on that user to perform everything we're going to do today. So that's an important step. You need to have this launch where all the performance form are in the first step, so that's the only way it's going to work to feed the data into the custom fields of the performance form. All right, so moving on, let's look at the custom sections of our worksheet here. So performance form template. So we have 2 custom elements of type text, pay grade, and pay scale type. So that I added. So what we're going to do is actually, I'm going to show you something that is going to make life easier after when we re-import data to make it to feed the custom element. So what I would recommend doing is these custom elements, in order to import values into them, you're going to use something called the value key. And it's going to be a lot easier to build the value key if you have if you rename the name of the element with so which is assigned by the system by default, like ELE_0, ELE_1. So that is not visible here, but it's in the XML. It's like a default value the system chooses based on the type of custom fields you added. We're going to rename that into using the name of that you gave to your field. So I'll show you how to do that. So we're going to go to Form Template Settings, and find our XML here. Download the form template, and then put it on this desktop or somewhere, and then open it from the desktop. And you're going to go navigate down to the section where they are, and you're going to do this, which believe me is going to be of tremendous help later when you do the whole thing. So you're going to say this E key here is going to be, you're going to name it pay grade, maybe just one capital letter at the beginning. And this one here, you're going to say pay scale type. Oh, sorry, not this one, the other one above. So you're going to replace the ELE_2 with pay scale type, all attached like this. Actually, let's just make it small. It'll be even less error prone. Okay, and then you can, since one of the last release, you can, here I'm going to do max length. I'm going to do 100 in case you have lot of values in it. And then you got to replace this here as well, pay scale type. So you can use the existing that the system gives you, but it becomes a little bit tricky to understand the logic of everything. So I'd rather show you something clean that's going to help you later. So yeah, so once you do that, you're good to go. You cleaned up the E keys, and you'll see how it's important later. So save this and then re-import your template. You going back to manage templates, and clicking on your template and performance review, and then upload. Click on it, and then you see, oh, I guess it's see, here. Upload the template by uploading an XML file on the desktop where we saved it. Let's check we saved it. Yep. And then, okay. So it looks like everything was fine. Let me just double check by downloading it again. I'll put it in the documents. Oh, want to always do that. You make sure you've got the right changes saved. Yeah, that's all good now. Okay, so that was a quick first step that's going to be very useful later. This route map I can close. We explain everything about it. So now that we have that, what we're going to do is build an MDF object that eventually will get the data from both data we need to be able to import into these custom fields, and we'll also have the EC information for each user. I'm going to delete, since I changed the E key, I'm going to delete the forms that were there and relaunch two. And then we'll go ahead and create the MDF, which would be the third step here. So we did step number two, add custom fields in PM form and change the E key. And optional is change the E key. And we're going to delete the forms here, just recreate it later. Delete the existing ones and recreate two ones that we're going to take a look at. So we're all aligned on what we have, that it's blank, and then we're okay, delete, launch. Okay, now let's just check these two new performance form to make sure nothing is in there already, so we can have a proper demo. They should be created in time now. Yeah, you can see them here. So let's look at Michael Pittman, for example. We can see it's still blank. All we did was we changed the E key. There wasn't any data loaded already previously, so it's the same than what we started with. So now we can go ahead and proceed to creating that MDF, which is step 3 of the process. Um, so let's go ahead and as an administrator, you're going to type configure object definition and create a new object, create new, and say object definition. And here you're going to say performance forms imports, for example. Okay, effective dating will be none. We don't need effective dating. API visibility that's very important, editable. Okay, moving down. Nothing else to change in the top section. Now we get here. So external name, we're going to remove it. We don't need it. This external code is going to be a unique number we're assigned in the file we prepare for upload before we run the integration. So we're going to just call it, click on detail, keep it as a string, but go on detail and click and call it unique number. Okay. Then we go here and there's going to be a good amount of columns to create. So the first one is going to be formula template ID, form template ID. It's going to be a decimal. Second one is going to be the content ID, form content ID. It's also going to be a decimal. Third one is going to be document ID. These are all IDs that are tied to each individual performance form you create, except for the form template ID, which is for the form template. But these two are what allows the system to identify which performance form you're trying to make the change into. Then we're going to need the section ID, the custom section ID. Also going to be a decimal. And then we're going to get the custom field E key. This can have, this is the one we just made a change on in performance, so this has to be a string. And finally, we're going to get the two more custom field. So there's another one called the value key. So that we'll have to fill in. So that's going to be a string, and then custom field imported value, or we can say EC value for import. Okay. Trying to think if there's any other. I don't think so. I think we're good with this. I'm going to save this. Then we're going to permission it to have, for us to have permission. So manage permission role, system admin. And you can type the name. It's directly here, performance imports. Here, miscellaneous. Select all for this object. Next, save. Okay. So when we go to manage data now, we should be able to find this object. Yeah, this is the one. So this is the one I use for testing, and this is the new one we just created, right? So we're good. So let's look at our agenda here of what we need to do. This would be step 3, 4, and so on. So we have completed the creation of the MDF. So now we are here in we've completed the launch performance form. We created the MDF. We completed the launch performance form. That's good. I mean, these two can be, this can be number 3 and this number 4. It doesn't really matter, but they have to be kind of like next to each other. So now we're at this step. Number 5, create an ad hoc report of type multi-domain. So let's go ahead. So if you don't have ad hoc report, if in the future it gets decommissioned, like I know it's been the talk, then you have to learn how to make a basic table report using stories or anything that they left behind, and or any more powerful tool that replaced ad hoc report is actually what I should say. So then you're going to click on create, and then it's just the report sentence, simple ad hoc report table, and click create. And here you're going to say cross-domain. So actually, it's not multi-domain, it's cross-domain. And we're going to start with performance management. Select. And here we're going to say info for information for performance import. System yields import. Remove styling, you can undo, save. People, we're going to take, we're super admin here, but we don't need inactive users. We're just going to say other filters. And dataset is going to be our performance form that we want to export data from. What we're trying to do with this report is get both the EC data we're going to need to import into those fields, as well as all the individual unique information specific to all the forms that have been launched with this template. So, okay, then we do save, then we do columns. And so first, where do I add the domain? I think it's here at the bottom. Add domain, yeah. So I need to add a domain. And the new domain is going to be person and job and employment info as of date. Add. Okay, all good. Save. Then we're going to proceed to selecting columns. Just making sure everything's good here too. Yeah. So let's pick the columns. So for the performance management domain, we're going to start with the form template ID, followed by the content ID, and then the document ID. So it's important that you do it in the right order that I'm listing here, because then it's going to facilitate the preparation of the MDF import file that you're going to need. So yeah, I would recommend doing it exactly the way I'm doing it. And then after that, we're going to need the custom section ID. So you need to navigate down to section fields and say, and pick section ID. After section ID, you're going to pick section custom field ID and section custom field value. You don't need it because you will import this. You will create the, you will get it from the import file. Um, And the name, you don't need it either because the custom field ID is now aligned with the name of the custom field. So instead of ELE underscore 0, when you get the report, it's going to say pay grade or pay scale type. So you're good. I don't think we need any of these two actually. I'm just trying to think. Yeah, no, we don't need these. So done. And now we're going to go to person and employment info, and we're going to do this will select at the end. We're just going to go to job info and pick pay grade and pay scale type. And then we're just going to add at the very end, we're going to add user ID and username. Done. Now there's one last step in this report, which is that we're basically, if you remember, we created the performance forms. They're in this modify step of the route map uh, in the step called launch under my administrator, who's also going to be the one who runs the final integration center job to do the sync. And so you want to do a filter to make sure you only get data from these from forms that were created with this template that are currently in editable step, in modify step. So you're going to do here filters and add, click on refine criteria and go to form status and do by my selection and modify stage. That's very important. Otherwise, you're going to get tons of data you probably don't want in case there's been like many rounds of forms created, you're going to get all the deleted forms and everything. So I figured this was pretty important. And that's it. You're going to then generate. Okay, one last thing. You can also do a filter before I generate here. You can also do a filter if you have a form that has many custom elements, including many that are not relevant to the design you're trying to do here. Then you might want to also add a filter on the custom field. So you might want to do this, for example, section custom field ID by my selection, and then you click only the one that is relevant. So in our case, if we type pay, we should have both pay grade and pay scale type. You might want to do that. That would make sure that your file's not full of custom fields you don't need for this design. Okay, then generate. Okay, this is what we need. All we need to do after this is just take this data, put it in the right import file for MDF, which we're going to see now, which is going to be um, step 6. So you're going to download this as CSV. So keep in mind that if you do this on a mass scale, right, if for, let's say, 15,000 employees that are part of the performance review, you're going to get a lot of data here. So you're going to work with pretty, big files. Um, that's all. Here is just 2 employees to show that we can do it for more than one. But yeah, that's going to be a big file because you need to launch all the performance form first because you need to get each of the performance forms unique content ID, unique document ID, and so on. Okay, let's open this file. So the next step is we open this report. This we don't need anymore. What we need now is to go to, well, we have this report open here. We need to now go to um, import and export data where you can uh, import data into MDFs in MDF objects, and you're going to want to download template for the MDF you created, which for us is performance form imports. And download, and then open the zip and double click on the first CSV file. So now you have 2 CSV open. And what you're going to need to do is take this file and fill in this file with the report you ran. So this is my import file, my template to import into the MDF. The first one, I don't need it for the moment, so I can delete it. We might need it later. Um, yeah, we might need it later. I'll show you how. But delete it for now, and then what we're going to do is take. I'm going to try to keep both on screen so it's easier for everybody to see. So what you're going to do is basically take the values here. So first, yeah, take the values here and all the way to section ID or a section custom field ID. So you take all these from A to E, you copy them and you paste them starting from B3 here. Okay. Then in A, you're going to give a unique number. So you just do this and then you like these and then just go all the way. Now, this is where it gets a little tricky. Um, there's two things that are tricky that you need to know, and you need to watch this recording carefully to be able to make it work. Is the first thing is this custom field ID here, custom field custom field value key. So the way this works is that there's a format you need to respect, which I copy pasted in here. So the format, this value key is generated automatically by the system, and you can only figure it out if you have an API. The good news is there's a logic to it, and I'm going to explain this logic now. So you're going to start with WF underscore section. Then you're going to take the custom section ID, which is going to be the same. If you follow the same example that I did, it's going to be the same for all. That's the good news. And then you're going to add underscore E underscore. I think if you have a custom field that's embedded at the end of another section, like sometimes you can add a custom field right below an existing custom field. So within the summary section, you can have custom fields there. I think it changes slightly, and I'll put it in my blog to show you what you need to add instead of the underscore E underscore. But for any custom field that's within its own custom field section, this is what you need. And then you're going to add uh, the position of the fields. So from top would be 0, and then the one after the one on top would be 1. So basically, when you look at the form, we open the form. Maybe better here. Yeah, so for example, you have pay grade is the first one you designed inside the custom section. That's going to be 0. Pay scale type is the second one. That's going to be 1. If there were the third one, that would be 2. Because it's all the numbering starts at 0 and goes from top to bottom. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's what you need to know here to be able to create this key. So you're going to say, we know that pay grade is first, so pay grade is going to be 0. But before we do, actually, before we do that, we need to put the custom field E key, so pay grade. And so, I mean, I think once you have it for the two fields, it's going to be pretty easy because it's going to be the same for all of them. So you can set up a logic to paste this. But here, it's going to look like this: pay scale type for the second and 1. Yeah, like this: pay scale type and 1. And then we just got to copy paste that. So you can maybe filter based on the custom field E key and do it for all the by custom field E key and then just, paste it if you have a large file. I mean, it's not a very complicated here to do this. You just have to understand the logic. All right. And so next and last remaining step, after that, everything's already done and we can conclude with the integration center job. You're going to need to populate the custom field EC value. So you're going to go back to your report and you're going to do, where's my report? Yeah, here it is. So you're going to add a column and that is going to be the value for import. And here you just need a simple rule. If E2, well, if this column pay grade is equal to pay grade, then you take G2. Otherwise, you take H2. You do it like this, up, and then you, in order to make it better, you need to copy and then paste. And then you have your value here, and then you're going to want to take these values and then copy them in your import file, essentially. So I would recommend you maybe you do all this first in your import file to make it clean, and then you put it in your MDF import file. That's going to be the value you import. You can also probably automate these steps. Well, not this one, but this one you could automate it with unsafe business rules at the MDF object level. But once you understand it, I mean, it's pretty straightforward from at least from an admin perspective, working on this. Now you have your file that's ready for import. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to import this. And so to do that, we need to go back to here to import and select our performance MDF here, performance forms import. Select choose file. Oh, we need to save it. I don't think I saved it. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm going to save it as, so actually I need to, this is an important clarification. So you need to make two MDFs, one with, so I'll just do, for now, I'll just do one that has all values, import all values, and then I'll split it into one with only each E key, one E key at the same time. So import all, import Friday, all values. And then we're going to split this file based on the E key, which is why maybe the whole process might be a bit easier if you just start by filtering on the custom field E key. So we're going to change it here to be like this. Okay, and now we have this one, so we're going to make another version where we only have the E keys for Friday for pay grade, and that's why you want to have a key that's like named after the, so it just makes it easier. So pay grade, so we remove pay scale type and just save. And then you're going to have another one that's going to be called, so we're going to reopen the all file and just do the same with, no, so that's not the one I want to choose first. I'm just going to choose the first one. And here we're going to do the other one, pay scale type. So again, filter on. Okay, and then save. Okay, now that you have this, you're going to go and import the file. So we're going to start with pay grade. So you can't do it together. If you do it together, you're going to have error message in Integration Center. There might be a way, but I haven't found. I tried hard, but I was always getting. You have to split them by key, basically by field, to for the integration to work. So first you do pay grade, import, and so after you import, if you go to, you can view the result here, but essentially you can go to manage data and make sure that it has been imported correctly. either that or this result. I always like to see for myself. Okay. So now we have them here, 1 and 3. So they're the big grade ones for different users, for one for Bitman, one for Sync. Now that we have this, we're going to create the integration. And the integration, we're going to be able to use the same one for the other file. So first we go here, Integration Center. So this would be our step 6, 7, right? So we're going to, and that's the last step to feed the data into the performance forms. Okay, my integrations. This one we can delete. It's an old one. And we're going to create a new integration. I'll show you how to do it. So more integration type, success factors. So scheduled here, success factors, 2 success factors, OData v2, create. Here, starting entity, you're going to type the name of your MDF, which is performance forms import, and then select. And just here, I'll just put Friday demo. Okay, next. I'm going to save it already. Save. Okay. Now, here you're going to add full purge. And keep it like this here, and then go to mappings. And then the first thing you're going to delete this and replace this with form custom element. Okay, so from custom element, now you're going to drag and drop a lot. So the first thing you're going to drag and drop is here. So you're going to take the, let's see, what do we have? We get the form template ID is going to go to item ID. So form template ID to item ID. Form content ID to form content ID. Document ID is going to data ID. Custom section ID is going to section index. This is going to be your custom field e-key. And then you scroll down, and at the bottom, you've got value string and value key string. So the value key is this one. And the value string is what you want to import into the actual custom field, which is probably higher. Yeah, value for import. So this is the one. Yeah, you do next. You do next again. No, nothing here. You can select once here. We're gonna run it right at the end. So I'm gonna save. And what I want to show you before I run the integration is that the forms that are in this inbox are still blank, and I'll show you the result after the integration. Right, so in this case, we're going to import the pay grade value for both Anya Singh and Michael Pittman. So if you click on each of them, the pay grade is blank, right? And let's do the other one. Yeah, we can see it's blank. So now we run the integration, run now. Navigate away here. Run the integration. And we're going to wait until it finishes. All right, and it says completed, and it says Two records written successfully. So now let's check it out. You can see Michael Pittman now has the pay grade in it, and Anya has the pay grade as well, and they have different pay grades. So it's all good. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to delete the records. We're not going to do the pay scale type to finish the demo, but we're going to delete the records that were in the MDF first. So let's go to I want to show you how to mass delete records, import and export data. Export data, and then you find your performance form imports, export, and then to get the file, you need to click on View Results. It's going to be the same one that we imported earlier, or that we made earlier, except it will have the operator column that I need. Okay, so now you want to delete all the ones you did for the first E key, so you're going to say delete. Okay, delete, delete, save as. Okay, and just go back to manage data. No, sorry, import and export. I could have done it manually for two records, but I really wanted how to show show how to do it on a mass with a lot of records. So that's how you do it with the delete column for all records. And choose file, then we're going to choose delete pay grade. And make sure that it's been processed and then it's all working fine. Two, processed, two, pass two. Okay, so let's just double check again in the manage data. Always like to do that so I don't get any surprises. Yep, it's empty. So now we can proceed to importing the other one. But I did remember something I need to let you know about, which is that in this import pay scale type, the second import we're going to do, one thing that's important is that I struggle for a long time doing this design because it seems like this sign here, the what is it called? The slash is not accepted when you import into a custom field. So I was not getting any valid result doing the same thing for pay grade. I didn't understand why, and it turned out it's because of that. So you need to make sure that you can only have hyphens. You can't have other separators. I'm not sure exactly which ones, but hyphens are accepted, and usually them and the slash are the only ones. So just keep hyphens, replace slash with hyphen or any other custom field, and you'll be good. So just for your information, let's save. Then you go to import export, and import data, and you go to performance forms import, and you choose the Friday base scale type. Hopefully we saved it. I think I did, but again, and import. And then view results, make sure it passed. pass to. Okay, let's go see it in manage data. All right, 2 and 4. Perfect. So now you go back to Integration Center and you select My Integrations. What you're going to do, you're just going to change its name, Friday Demo, uh, import to. I think it will work if you don't change the name. It worked when I changed it. So I'm going to do exactly the same that worked for me. And then just go straight to review and run. You don't need to change anything else. And run now. Okay, 2 records written. Let's go check. Here to launch. Oh, sorry, to performance. Okay, it worked. Pay scale type, pay grade. So now we're going to finish the design by creating a performance business rule, the ones from second half 2025 release. So we go to configure business rule and we select performance. Okay, click on new, select performance management, configure dynamic form content. And we're going to say summary section visibility. Form template is the one that has demo in it. This one. And roll trigger any. Continue. And so now we're going to pick the values from our custom section. See how in the if conditions you can, in context, you don't have access to user, so you can't directly trigger the employees that are being reviewed, which is why we did this whole workaround. And all of these functions, they don't let you select user, the ones that have user, for example, get job info string. It doesn't let you do a generic association between the user of the function and EC as well, which is why we were stuck and we needed this workaround. But now that we have our fields, we can just go, pay grade. And so we're going to say pay grade value is equal to, and now this is where we need to find the right values from what has been imported into performance and do a perfect match. So we're going to say that if the value is grade salary 14 for Pitman, it doesn't show the summary section, and so it shows it for everybody else. Let's do a simple case, right? And then you will see that you can do if and connect them with or, so you could have a double condition based on our 2 fields. Essentially, I could have done it with 1 field, but I really wanted to show that you need to have several files to import into the MDF to be able to make the integration work and so on. So I wanted to do it with 2 fields to import value into. But here, you can do and parent or, parent and build it. But we're just going to keep it simple here. Grade salary 14, this is what has been imported as value, and we're going to do then set form section summary. Oh, okay, I guess this section cannot be completely hidden. Um, You can only hide the ratings themselves inside the summary. That's okay. So actually, the business case that triggered this was a customer that said, we'd like to show the entire custom section based on fields within that section, which we can do. So for example, you're going to say, let's say that for Michael Pittman, if you're in the grade 14, which is his grade, don't show pay scale type, but anybody else show pay scale type. So we can do that. So for example, here you're going to go here, pay scale type, visible, and is equal to no, and save. So now Michael Pittman, what we expect is that he's not going to show the field pay scale type um, when the form opens anymore. It will still be there configured and you can report on it, but it won't show for anybody who's part of the route map. These rules are dynamic, so you can always update them after the forms are live. That's what's nice about them. And so to test it, we need to first assign. So this is a RBP. It's called Assign Rules in Talent. First, you need to go to Performance Management Settings and say Enable Business Rules for Performance, and make sure you use the latest version of Performance Management as well. And then you go here, you do 2026, the template we use, and then you're going to use Form Opening. Form opening rule, summary section visibility, which is not our business case now. We changed it because we couldn't get the whole section to hide. I guess maybe if you hide every rating in that section, you can hide the whole section, but it's fine. So we just save, and now we test it. So this is the end of this demo. So now you go back to reviews and test it. So first, you were going to go to Anya Singh, and we're going to make sure that she can still see both, right? Including the fields with the what we imported, the values, everything we imported. And now we go to Michael and see that he can only see pay grade. Beautiful. So no need for CPI and 10 days of work or 6 days of work. Is you just have to be very organized in the way you prepare your file, follow this recording very carefully. Um, it took me about 3 or 4 days to build this. Trial and error, trial and error. There was no information really available. There were a few blogs here and there with different business cases, and I had to really work my way through ad hoc report, doing a cross-domain report first, and then MDF, and then success factors to success factors integration through Integration Center. I think it's going to unlock a lot of things for a lot of customer requirements. So I'm happy about this, and thank you for listening. And don't hesitate if you have any comments or questions. Thank you. Bye bye.